I'm here on Instagram and YouTube, my YouTube channel, and I am sharing another poem from the Tao Te Ching. If you've been with me before, you know that I share both the original and the Parents Tao Te Ching, a modern parenting advice with ancient wisdom from William Martin. And as it goes, I normally read this one first, and then I'll read this one, share Martin's insight, and then, of course, I'll share my own. Okay. So, and I try to keep these videos under 10 minutes, just quick little pick me ups, lift me ups. I normally do a lot more practical advice, but with this reading, it's reaching into more of the theory, spiritual, higher self part of parenting. Okay. Because you need both. You don't have to have both, but if you want to evolve your parenting, you would need both. Okay. Both practical and the more worldly vision of how you'd like parenting to go and how it's meant to go. All right. So let's read. Poem 21. The greatest virtue you can have comes from the following. Oh my goodness, I'm going to start that again. The greatest virtue you can have comes from following the Tao alone. That takes an intangible and elusive form. Although the Tao is intangible and elusive, we are able to know that it exists. Intangible and elusive, however, it has a manifestation, hidden and dark, but with vitality. Its vitality is very genuine. In it, we can find order. Since the beginning of time, the Tao has always existed. It is beyond existing and non-existing. How do I know where creation comes from? I look inside me and I see it. All right, I'm going to read thoughts on that one too, but let's read William Martin's version, his interpretation for parents. To me, that is very spiritual and can be very spiritual depending on your religion and how religious you are. You can also tap into that as well. Now let's read from here. The hidden mystery of their being. Although you give your children names, their reality is nameless and mysterious. Their mystery is hidden, yet plain to see. It disappears when you stare at it. It hides when you seek it. To find it, you must look into yourself. If you can discover the secret of your own life, you will glimpse the mystery of your children. Though this mystery cannot be described, it can be trusted. You can trust it in yourself. You can trust it in your children. How do I know this? I see it everywhere. Now I'll read the insights from William Martin. Imagine yourself as a child. There was someone present there your parents never knew, a mystery they could not fathom. Look at your children closely. You will never know the mystery of their being. Can you love them still? To me, this leans greatly into, and it's funny, when I did my morning routine, I'm on, by the way, day 1755 of my morning routine. When I did my journal entry today, I asked the question, what is life, and what is this purpose of life? And been doing some spiritual reading too. In tradition, I'm not a religious person, but spiritual, yes, I am. But religion, it kind of depends. But this idea of having within you spirit, source, God, whatever you want to call it, moral compass, this really leans into when we parent and we have the awareness to parent beyond extrinsic motivation, dangling the carrot, which I get sometimes we need to do at times. But if we do most of our parenting under the premise that within our child, we are helping them remember, okay, or align to that moral compass, that good compass based ideally on our family values or on good human values, kindness, love, faith, um, just really honing into being a good human being. Um, if we can gear our parenting toward those intrinsic values, so tuning in, asking your child to tune in when they do something, if they're in an argument with their sibling or they didn't do their homework or whatever it is, can we tune into the intrinsic part of being a human? Because that will always be there versus the external motivation of, okay, well, when you do this, then you can get the this. Or if you don't do this, then you can't get this. Which again, I'm also very practical. There are times when that can prove to be a helpful strategy. It's not a good strategy for the long term. So if you are looking to parent and build a foundation, a strong, solid foundation as a parent for yourself and your child, because by the way, parenting is a lifelong gig, okay? No matter how old your kids are, once you're a parent, you're always a parent. If you're open to cultivating that with your children, getting them to tune into their moral compass, helping them understand their moral compass, and having that based on your family values and what it takes to be a good human being, then you can really help set your child up for success, because the extrinsic values, those motivators, are going to change over time. They will change. Maybe it'll be, when they're kids, it's maybe candy and iPads. When they're teens, maybe it's phone and going out with friends. When they're adults, maybe it's getting a job promotion, or being included or excluded out of a social group. Whatever those extrinsic values are, they're going to change throughout your lifetime, throughout your children's lifetime. What doesn't change is honing into that inner moral compass, getting them to tune into that, because the reality is, even though you're a parent for life, you're not there for life all the time with them. And when you have young kids, it's sometimes harder to see that, because you're like, well, I have more awareness of what's happening with my child. I have more control over what's happening with my child. But as they get older, that shifts and the independence starts to grow. And what you really want to do is help build and strengthen that connection with your child and have them tune in to that moral compass, and not necessarily always be looking to you to solve what's going on for them or for you to motivate them to do what they got to do. Does that make sense? It's one of the things, again, that when clients are open to this work and we can dive into these layers. So when parents come to me, they often come to me with a challenge that they're having with their kid, or children, or sibling. There's the kids fighting or whatever it is, school refusal, disrespectful behavior, whatever it is. Once we address those challenges, and at the same time simultaneously address some of the underneath of what's going on in the family dynamic, if they're open to it, they can, in fact, help to cultivate that moral compass with their kids, which is the thing that's the legacy. If you want to leave a legacy with your kids, that's it. Really helping them to tune into that so that they can always remember who they truly are and how to show up in this world so that they feel proud for themselves. And by the way, then you'll get to be proud for them too. Hope that was helpful. See you later. Bye.